Hey, UPP here from OptionMillionaires.com. Thanks for tuning in. Going to go over a couple decent option trade ideas out there that I've been looking at tonight. Start with Amazon. Amazon spiked higher right at the end of the session to close at about $275 a share. I think it's going to ultimately hit over 280 this week, which is only 2 days away until the week is over. So that's a pretty ambitious call. It'd be almost a 2% move from current levels. The options for the 280 strike right now at about 39 cents. I think that offers a great risk reward for a continued spike higher. Right now we can break out of this, and this resistance line here, if we break out of it out of the gate, I could see it. Now we'd look at the 277.25 level, but ultimately we're going to go up to test the all-time highs within the next few trading sessions, possibly rolling into next week. So if you're a little less risk as far as your portfolio is concerned, if you don't like taking too much of a risk, you can go farther out to April, or you can go farther in the money. You can go in the money, which would take a little risk off the table. Out of the money stock options, for instance, for the 280 calls, if the stock does not at least open a little higher, those calls are just going to drop to a very low price. So time decay gets to become a big issue as we head closer to options expiration. So like Amazon, I like the 280 calls. I like a move back over to new all-time highs within the next few trading sessions, possibly by the end of this week, and most definitely, in my opinion, next week. So that's Amazon. Let's go to HLF. HLF, everybody and his brother, mother, sister, everybody's been calling for this massive, gigantic short squeeze. And I have been going nonstop saying, hey, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And so far, it really hasn't happened. This chart, in my opinion, still remains very bearish. Okay, we have this head and shoulders pattern. This was the Ackman presentation we dropped. Now this is what started this trend line that ultimately is going to fail, I believe. And the upper channel here, or the upper part of this trend line from the all-time highs we hit for Herbalife at about 70 bucks a share, has yet to be pierced. And each time we get some sort of rumor, some sort of additional investment from Carl Icahn, or his initial announcement here in February, Valentine's Day, the day before February options were to expire, always the best time to be trying to manipulate a stock or trying to possibly create some sort of short squeeze. And it worked for a little bit, but ultimately it's been faded. I came here to support, and here we are again today, fading. Look at the last 3 days, okay? I came out with a video on Sunday, this past weekend. I said, I believe it was, maybe it was Friday night or Saturday. It was after the week, after the market had closed last week. Came out and said, I'm getting into the puts this week, and I did. I got into the $41 puts at 70 cents and 90 cents, and the stock has seen 3 down days ever since. Now you can look at my chart at stocktwits.com, or the videos I've posted there. So I think we're going to see continued weakness, although this line here is going to offer support. It's at about the $38 price. I expect this to at least fall to there tomorrow, Thursday. And if we break through it, I think $35 is coming. And this would be very bearish for the stock, because we're going to break this support line, and this chart being very bearish, as I said, in my opinion. We're going to see some gravity take hold of the stock, and we're going to drop down to about 25 or 20 bucks a share, that's a pretty miraculous call for me to come out there, and I've been saying it for quite a while. With everybody and his brother, again, seeing Carl Icahn, a legendary investor, activist investor, coming in and owning now 16% of the stock, trying to create this massive short squeeze. We have other reputable hedge fund managers out there like Daniel Loeb coming to take a position saying, oh, this is worth 70 bucks a share. Meanwhile, he's taking his profits at 43. So what does that tell you? Again, the bulls really are at an advantage here. The bears are not. There's really no reason for the stock to go lower. If you dig down deep, you figure the big short position, and the fact that we have a large reputable investor just buying up the stock, adding board members. We have the company buying back $1 billion worth of common stock, taking that off the market. So the stock really should be heading higher, but it's not because people are selling. And now, with the uncertainty that still lies ahead for this company, I think that's what's going to ultimately lead the stock lower. And as people see the stock heading lower, they're going to start to panic and try and get out. Oh well. Again, if the market was that easy to trade and somebody was coming in and buying all this stock and we're going to get this big massive short squeeze, we'd all be rich. We'd all be rich. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. So HLF remains bearish in my opinion. Again, I am in the $41 puts. I am up almost 200% on them already. So I would say, yeah, might not be a time to enter into them tomorrow right at the open. But if we break this $38 price point here and start to head lower, I'm thinking the April puts would definitely be the place to be, and that's what I'll be looking at tomorrow, especially if we bounce up a little bit. And again, this line here will remain resistance. This will remain support. We break either line, and that's going to tell the medium to longer term direction of HLF. U.S. Steel hit some very solid support here today. Disgusting move lower. I'm actually in the calls. I'm down on these calls, and I might add a little bit tomorrow, just judging from the action we held. This line in the sand, really. If we were to close below this, I think further downside certainly coming. But I think since we held it, I still remain. I think the stock's going to bounce, and I think we're going to head back up to about the 20.50 and ultimately the $21 range. But that would be such a big move in a short period of time. However, I think this support is going to hold, and I think the 20.50s, which are, gosh, pretty cheap right now, will be a good trade for tomorrow. All right, it's UPB here from OptionMillionaires.com. I like Amazon 280 calls. I like the HLF puts. Most likely go out to April. I already own the March 41 puts that I'm in for a nice profit. Probably sell those, and if we get a little bounce, I'll move it to April because I think further downside is coming. And again, we break that top trend line, and I'll be out, and I'll just be watching from the sidelines, enjoying the saga that is HLF. And then I have U.S. Steel, like the calls here as well. For a bounce, we hit support. I'm already in the calls. I'm possibly getting a couple more. And a little bonus one. Let's do CF. This is CF Industries. Fell late in the day to chart. Look at this. Almost. This is a 5-day chart. Almost a head and shoulders pattern. You can almost pull out here a left shoulder. That's a head and a right shoulder. And you can argue this would be a very nice neckline right here. So it's a little sloppy. We broke through it. So let's see if we get some sort of bottom here at about the 203 level, which we bounced off of. And we got to move up to 205, 207. I'll probably be looking at the 205 calls tomorrow. And one more. Let's do WYNN. Jimmy Bob likes to say it, OptionMillionaires.com. For the WYNN, we almost double topped here today. Had a nice little decline. But we have 2 days left, and the 120 calls are going for like 27 cents, something like that. Actually in them already. So if we look at this uptrend we have here, supports at 117.50. We did make somewhat of a higher high, so you could almost say this pullback is just a pullback. It's not something that's more drawn out as far as breaking through this 117.50 point. So I'm looking for the 120s next week. So I think we're in some sort of an upswing here for the stock. I'll probably set my chart up a little better. But anyway, we filled this gap that we saw back at the end of the year. Started at 2013 with the fiscal cliff being resolved. Headed up to 126. Have pulled back, kind of retraced about 60-65% of those gains. And now we're in an upswing here. So something to keep in mind. And we know wind can move in a really dramatic fashion. I gotta move my lines, make them a little more pretty. Alright folks, UPB here from OptionMillionaires.com. Hope everyone has a great trading day tomorrow. Goodbye.